All the main bearing caps are off, so I guess I'll go ahead and remove the crank. See just how freely it spins, there's hardly any friction on it. Here's the crank out. Just a cast iron crank, I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't think it's got a forged steel crank in this engine. It would be unnecessary considering it only makes 96 horsepower. Well, here's the crank and pistons, as well as the main cap bearings. We'll have a look at these. The number 1 bearing for the crank. They're still in very good shape. As you can tell, there's some wear and scoring, but mind you, it's got 80,000 miles on it. I was expecting the bottom end of this engine to be in much worse condition, considering the blown head gasket and so on, but I guess it's not that bad. It does have a smell of a very badly burnt oil to it, so this engine has gotten very, very hot at one point. So here's the middle main bearing cap for the crank. As you can see, it also has the thrust bearings on the sides. The thrust bearings pretty much have absolutely... Excuse me, they do have some wear on them, from what I can tell, yeah. I thought it's supposed to have some copper on the sides, but I guess not. It's fairly worn, but nowhere near as bad as it would be if it was a manual transmission car, because in a manual, when you push your clutch pedal in, all of the load from you depressing the pressure plate would go onto the crankshaft and it'd be on this thrust bearing, causing much greater wear. But this had an automatic behind it, so there's hardly any axial load on the crank. So we're moving back from the crank. You can see this is the number 4 cap. It is starting to get some more and more wear on them. Because mind you, the oil pump on this engine is up front, so the further you go back, and you get slightly less oil pressure, and it gives you more wear on your parts. It's not as bad as that one, but the previous one. But this would also have the rear main seal in it, which is still stuck on the crankshaft right here. So I'll show you. Let's remove it, but yeah, it's okay. This would normally just slide off the flange on the back of the crank, but since it's so hard, I can't get it off because it's very old, so I'm not going to bother with that. Here's the number 1 piston. This is the one that had the head gasket blown on. See all the coolant coagulated on top, as well as the rust. Absolutely every single piston ring on all 4 pistons is seized. See, it's free on this side, but it's rusted in. You can see it's been wearing right here. And I was going to separate the pistons from the con rods to get more scrap value because they are aluminum, but I'm really not going to because they're just so dirty. It's pretty much going to be scrapped as a shred iron or steel, so I'm going to leave it together. Don't mind a couple nicks in the bearings from me removing it, but all these here are also in good shape. Normally you would, of course, get more wear on the top connecting rod bearing, because that's where you have all the pushing load on it from it firing. Again, this one's still in good shape, as well as this. As well as this is probably one of the worst pistons, seeing all the build up and the rust, and the top compression ring is completely rusted in. The second one is barely working right there on the edge, and as well as the oil wiper rings and everything are rusted. So even if you would put a new head gasket on this engine, it would have probably hardly ever ran, or never ran properly and smoked real bad, because there would be absolutely no compression, because These rings are just so seized. This is number 3. Let's see, it's just all rusted up from it sitting outside years and years, having water in it. Now this one does have some slight scoring in it, which is not too bad, but it's slightly worse than the other ones. The bottom half of it's pretty good, but up here, if you see, zoom in right there's some fine scoring, but anyway. And here's number 4. See, just as the other ones, everything's rusted. The rings and everything are rusted up in it. See, this one doesn't move as freely on the gudgeon pin as the other one, so you know, the bearing cap bearings don't have that much wear on them either, so. Have a closer look at the journals on the crankshaft. You can see in very good shape. You probably wouldn't, if you were going to reuse this crank for a rebuild, you would just get away with just polishing it. No need to regrind it or anything. All of them are in really good shape. See, maybe this one's not as good, but still pretty good condition. So yeah, let's move this out of the way and have a final look at the block before moving on.